In part 3, you gathered information and then used that information to develop a model to explain kind of how matter cycled in the rabbit problem in Australia. So, to start off, we reviewed a little bit about producers, consumers, and decomposers, and then you learned a little bit more about how matter cycles in the Australian ecosystem. So, in this ecosystem, before the rabbits were introduced, the producers are the trees and the grass, and the consumer that we know about right now is a kangaroo. And this question is not a trick question. Describe how matter moves from plants to kangaroos in this ecosystem. It's simple by eating. The kangaroo eats the plants. That's how it gets matter from the plants. On the next slide, you thought about some non-living things in this ecosystem, one of which was given to you, soil. The other two non-living things that are important to plants and their growth are air and water, since plants use air and water to do photosynthesis and make sugars that they need to grow. So, how matter moves from non-living things all the way to the kangaroo in this ecosystem, here's what I wrote. The plant uses some nutrient from the soil to help it perform photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, the plant uses air and water to make the sugars it needs to grow. When the kangaroo eats the plant, it consumes the sugars and that the plant has produced. So then we learn about what happened in Australia when they introduced rabbits. The rabbits reproduced, and over time, not even that long of time, the ecosystem was decimated. That means that things died. There were no more green plants left. So in this case, the producers in this ecosystem, they're still the grass and trees. The consumer now is the rabbits. So why do you think many plants could not survive after rabbits were introduced to the ecosystem? Well, the rabbits reproduced so rapidly, and there were so many of them that they simply ate all the plants before the plants could grow. On the next slide, you learned about what scientists decided to do. They introduced a disease into the ecosystem to get the rabbits basically to die and the population of rabbits to decrease. When they did this, it presented another problem. Now they had a lot of dead rabbits, but eventually decomposers helped to clean those dead rabbits up. So one example of a decomposer is bacteria. You may have written fungi. You could have even written worms or insects. This ecosystem would not survive without decomposers. Describe how decomposers cleaning up the dead rabbits made the whole ecosystem stronger. Well, we know decomposers break down dead plants and animals. That's their role in the ecosystem. But as they break these dead plant and animals down, they return important nutrients to the soil. And then plants are able to use these nutrients to help them grow better. Finally, you used all this information to kind of show how matter is cycling in this ecosystem with kangaroos and rabbits. So plants, I place my plants here. They are eaten by kangaroos. So I make an arrow that goes from plants to kangaroos. Plants are also eaten by the rabbits, and I made an arrow going there. Now plants need non-living things to survive. So they use air and water to make the food they need. And from soil, they gather a few nutrients that's going to help in this process. And that connects those. The last thing I needed to connect was bacteria. Bacteria is a decomposer. So when those rabbits died, the bacteria ate the rabbits or broke down the rabbits and returned some nutrients to the soil. And that's what I'm showing on my model. Okay, I hope that was helpful to get you thinking about how matter can cycle through an ecosystem in a real, true story.